Lena was just 10 years old, but already, life had treated her like she was nothing. She wasn't loud. She wasn't wild. She wasn't the kind of kid that cried for attention. Instead, she kept everything inside. She spoke softly. She stared at the floor when grown folks talked. And she never asked for much, mostly because asking had only ever gotten her pain. Her foster parents, Ron and Valerie, told the world they were doing a good deed. They had the clean house, the fake smiles, and the fridge full of food when caseworkers came by. But the moment the door closed, and the social workers were gone, everything changed. They locked Lena in a small room with no windows. They called it the quiet box. Said it was for discipline, but Lena knew better. It was punishment for being alive. They fed her scraps, cold canned beans, half-eaten toast, sometimes nothing at all. They told her she was stupid, that nobody wanted her, and that her real mom dumped her for a reason. And Lena believed them. Every time she got a bruise, Valerie would say, "Go ahead, tell someone. Who's gonna believe a little rat like you?" Then she'd laugh, sipping wine while watching game shows on the couch. It was a routine, a cycle, a nightmare that reset every day. But here's the thing about life. Sometimes, right when you're about to give up, something, or someone, changes the whole story. It was a cold Tuesday morning. Lena had been let out just to take the trash bins to the curb. Her tiny hands were red from the cold. Her sweater had holes. Her shoes didn't even match. Across the street, a sleek black Bentley pulled up in front of a tall office building with glass walls and gold trim. It looked like something out of a dream. She stared, frozen for a second, clutching the trash lid. That's when Mr. Elias Carter stepped out. Tall, silver hair slicked back, sharp navy suit. People rushed to greet him, assistants, security, employees. But he didn't say much. He nodded, checked his watch, and walked toward the building. But then, he stopped. He turned. For just a split second, he locked eyes with Lena across the street. Something in her stillness caught him. Not the ragged sweater, not the mismatched shoes, but the look, that blank, heavy look in her eyes. He'd seen it before, in orphanages overseas, in kids who had given up hope long before anyone ever noticed. A horn honked behind him. His bodyguard tapped his shoulder. "Sir, we've got to move. Meeting in 10. Elias turned back. Lena was gone. Back at the house, Valerie screamed because Lena forgot to bring the mail in. Ron smacked a plate off the table just to scare her. It was a normal Tuesday. But Lena couldn't stop thinking about that man. The one who looked at her, like she mattered. She didn't know who he was. She didn't know his name. But something about him, it stirred something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. 3 days later, fate stepped in again. Valerie dragged Lena with her to a grocery store uptown. Not because she wanted company, but because she wanted Lena to carry bags. While Valerie argued over expired coupons at checkout, Lena wandered near the entrance. Her eye caught a signboard next to a smoothie bar inside the plaza. Carter Tech Youth Camp, applications open for foster kids ages 10 to 14. Her heart skipped. It had a logo. Same as the one on that building across the street from where she saw the man in the navy suit. Could it be? Was that his company? Lena walked closer. A smiling lady at the booth handed her a flyer. "You can take one, sweetie. You don't even need your parents to apply. Just send in a drawing and tell us why you want to join." The words hit her like sunlight through a crack in a dungeon wall. "I love to draw," Lena whispered. The woman didn't hear her, but it didn't matter. That night, with her tiny flashlight under the blanket, Lena drew her dream on the back of a crumpled paper grocery bag. It was a picture of a big house. Kids were smiling. She was smiling too. In the corner, she drew a small man in a suit standing beside a child, holding her hand. Under it, she wrote in shaky pencil, "I want to be in a safe place. I want to be kind like the man I saw." She folded it gently and hid it in her sock. The next day, Lena snuck out during trash duty and dropped the drawing into the corner mailbox addressed to Carter Tech Youth Center. Then she ran home fast before Valerie noticed. Days passed. Nothing happened. Until everything did. It was a Wednesday morning when a black SUV pulled up outside Ron and Valerie's home. Not the cheap kind. The serious kind. 2 men in black suits stepped out. Behind them, Elias Carter himself exited. He wasn't smiling. He walked straight to the door and knocked. Ron opened it, fake grin ready. Can I help you?" Elias didn't flinch. "I'm here about Lena." Valerie appeared behind him, tension rising. We don't know anyone by that name. Elias pulled out the folded drawing. It had Lena's name, address, and her tiny handwriting. Try again. Ron laughed nervously. You got the wrong house, man. That's when Elias, head of security, handed Ron a legal document. You're being investigated for child abuse. There's video, photos, and a statement from your neighbor who recorded Lena crying through the vents last night. We've got people watching you. You can't lie your way out of this. Valerie's face went pale. This is harassment. You got no right. Elias raised a hand. Calm. You're right about one thing. I don't need rights. I have resources. 2 minutes later, a social worker appeared. With a badge. And backup. Lena was in the basement, clutching her sketchbook. She looked up when the door opened, expecting to see Ron's angry face. Instead, she saw him. The man from the street. He stepped in slowly, kneeling to her level. Hey, Lena. My name's Elias. I saw your drawing. And I came. She didn't speak, but tears started falling. He opened his arms, gently. You're safe now. She ran into them. The foster parents were taken in. But Elias, he didn't stop there. He paid for lawyers, therapy, and even set up a legal team to investigate every complaint ignored by the foster system in that state. For Lena, the nightmare was over. But for Ron and Valerie, it was just beginning. Maya sat quietly at the corner of the Billionaire's lounge, clutching a steaming cup of cocoa in her hands. For the first time in a long while, her body felt warmth, not just from the drink, but from the safety she now felt. After rescuing her from that nightmare home, Mr. Jordan hadn't just brought her out. He'd brought her into a new life. But the past still clung to her like mud on old shoes. Take your time, Mr. Jordan had said softly that morning. You don't owe me any stories. You owe no one anything right now. You just breathe. Still, Maya knew she had to talk. She had to face it. Sitting on a soft couch too fine for her to believe it was real, she looked up at him. They used to lock me in a small storage room when I cried. Just a dark box. Sometimes for hours. I wasn't allowed to eat until I apologized, even when I didn't know what I did wrong. Mr. Jordan's jaw tightened. They called it discipline, but it didn't feel like that. Felt like they hated me. Like I was just some broken piece they didn't want anymore. Mr. Jordan leaned forward. You were never the broken one, Maya. They were. And just like that, a tear slid down her cheek. One tear turned into many. But Mr. Jordan didn't interrupt. He let her cry. Because sometimes, crying is a kind of healing. Later that week, Mr. Jordan called a private investigator he'd worked with before, Rodney, a sharp guy who didn't play games. I need everything you can find on the Greens. Their finances, records, anything shady. You got it, Rodney said. This about the girl. It is. And Rodney, don't miss a thing. 3 days later, the report landed on his desk. Mr. Jordan opened it with a cold stare. Illegal fostering practices. Multiple accounts of financial abuse. Foster payments taken without proper care provided. Neglect reports from neighbors buried and ignored. One report even mentioned a previous child disappearing from the household. That case was closed due to lack of evidence. Mr. Jordan's blood boiled. They'd treated Maya like dirt for money. The next morning, Maya was helping clean up breakfast dishes, even though Mr. Jordan insisted she didn't have to. I like helping, she smiled shyly. Makes me feel useful. You're already more than useful. You're valuable, he said, patting her shoulder gently. He watched her walk off, then made a call. Get me the best child advocacy lawyer in the city. I want to make sure those people never touch a child again. By noon, the lawyer was in his office, flipping through Rodney's report. We can go after them legally, Mr. Jordan. Foster fraud, child neglect, endangerment. It'll take time, but we can do it. Make it happen, he said without hesitation. And whatever Maya needs for her healing, therapy, education, everything, I'll handle it. No limits. Meanwhile, news of the billionaire's actions started leaking online. One of Mr. Jordan's assistants had quietly posted a photo, Maya's first night at the mansion, smiling faintly under the soft glow of chandelier lights. The internet exploded. Who is this girl? Is Mr. Jordan adopting her? Why was she living on the streets? It turned into a wildfire of support. People began digging. Stories surfaced. Former foster children of the Greens came forward. TikTok videos, tweets, articles. The world was waking up. Mr. Jordan saw the noise and said nothing. He wasn't doing it for applause. But the more exposure, the more pressure on the system to act. One afternoon, Maya walked into Mr. Jordan's office. "Can I show you something?" He nodded. She handed him a worn sketchbook. "I drew this when I lived with them. It was the only thing that helped me escape in my mind." The pages were filled with detailed sketches. Some sad, some angry, but all powerful. Mr. Jordan flipped through, impressed. "These are amazing, Maya. I want to be an artist. I want to show what I felt, what other kids feel." He stood up. "Then we'll get you the best art tutor, the best materials. You'll have your voice." Weeks passed. A court date was set. Mr. Jordan showed up with his lawyer, his security, and Maya, calm but guarded. The Greens. They showed up like it was just another day. But the judge wasn't playing. With the evidence presented, the Greens were stripped of their foster license. A financial investigation was opened. Charges of neglect were filed. But the part that shocked everyone, Mr. Jordan stepped forward and asked to personally fund a foundation in Maya's name, dedicated to protecting and supporting foster kids who fall through the cracks. "I don't want revenge," he told the court. "I want change." The judge nodded, visibly moved. Outside the courtroom, reporters swarmed. Mr. Jordan raised his hand and spoke. "This is Maya. She's not a victim. She's a fighter. And from today forward, no more kids like her will be ignored. Not on my watch." Maya squeezed his hand tightly. And just like that, a billionaire didn't just save a girl. He started a movement. The court decision had gone viral. News channels ran headlines. "Billionaire saves teen foster girl from abuse, justice for Maya," and Mr. Jordan's bold stand against a broken system. But while the world buzzed about the drama, inside the tall gates of the Jordan estate, something more beautiful was happening. Maya was healing. It wasn't quick. Healing never is. But it started with little things. The first time she laughed out loud. The first time she slept through the night without waking up crying. The first time she ran to Mr. Jordan with a drawing, excited like a kid who never learned to be excited. Mr. Jordan noticed every little step. And he didn't rush her. One day, she asked him, "Why did you help me? You didn't even know me." He looked at her gently. "Because when I was little, I wished someone would have helped me, too." Maya blinked. "You?" He nodded. "I wasn't poor like you were. But I was invisible. Raised by people who thought money was more important than love. And I promised myself, when I had power, I'd use it to see people." Maya didn't respond. But something changed in her eyes. Respect. Connection. Weeks later, she stood in front of a group of kids at a community center. Kids just like her, pulled from rough foster homes, shuffled around the system. They listened as she told her story. Nervous at first, voice shaking. But halfway through, she saw their faces, open, hopeful, waiting to feel less alone. "I thought I was trash," she said. "I thought I deserved the pain. But now I know, I was never the problem." The room went silent. Then applause. Long, emotional applause. Afterward, one girl walked up and hugged her. "You're brave. You helped me." Maya smiled, fighting tears. "No, we're brave." Back at the estate, Mr. Jordan watched her from his study window. "She's going to change the world," he whispered to himself. He'd never married, never had kids. Business had always been the goal. But Maya made him feel something he didn't expect. Purpose. That night, he sat her down. "I want to ask you something," he said, trying not to sound too formal. "Okay. I'd like to adopt you, Maya. Not as a project, not as a symbol, but as my daughter, if that's what you want." Maya's eyes filled instantly. "You mean, for real?" "For real." She jumped into his arms. "Yes, I want that. I want that so bad." The adoption was finalized in private, but word still got out. Cameras caught the pair walking out of the courthouse, hand in hand, Maya beaming. From foster to family, one headline said. Social media had mixed feelings. Some questioned Mr. Jordan's motives. Others called him a hero. But Maya, she didn't care what the world thought. She finally had a home, a father, and her journey wasn't over, it was just starting. Months passed. Maya enrolled in a top private art school. The first day she walked in, kids stared. She didn't wear designer clothes. She didn't act stuck up, but she held her head high. And when she showed her work, drawings of pain, hope, and survival, the room went quiet. Her teacher, a strict old artist named Ms. Clara, stood stunned. "You've got the heart of a master," she whispered. Maya smiled. "It's all real. Every sketch is my truth." Back at the estate, Mr. Jordan launched the Maya Foundation for Foster Youth. The goal was simple: find kids slipping through the cracks and bring them out. They gave out scholarships, placed kids in safe homes, and hired counselors who truly cared. In under a year, the foundation helped over 500 kids. But it was never about numbers for Maya. She made sure every kid got a card from her. A real, hand-drawn card. "You're seen. You're loved. You matter." Every card had that message. Because she knew what it was like to go to bed thinking you didn't matter. Then came the big news. Maya was asked to speak at a global youth conference in Switzerland. Her first flight overseas. Her first time seeing snow. On the stage, lights bright, crowd packed, she took a deep breath. "My name is Maya Jordan. I was abused. I was forgotten. But someone saw me. And now, I want to make sure we all start seeing each other." She told her story, and by the end, not a single person in the audience had dry eyes. After the speech, the Prime Minister of Canada came up to her. "Miss Jordan, your story moved me. We want to work with your foundation." Maya smiled. "Let's change lives." Back home, she curled up on the couch beside Mr. Jordan. "You were amazing," he said. She grinned. "You made me believe I could be. You did the rest." There was a pause. Then Maya said, "I think I want to start writing too. Like a book. My story." "You should. And I want to direct a movie one day. You'll make the best one ever." Years passed. Maya became more than a survivor. More than a speaker. She became a force. Her art hung in museums. Her book became a bestseller. Her movie won an award. But more important than all that, kids who felt invisible saw her and thought, "If she made it, maybe I can too." One rainy afternoon, Maya stood by the old courthouse, the one where her life had changed. It had been exactly 10 years. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you." Not just to Mr. Jordan, but to that part of herself that never gave up. That little girl who kept drawing in the dark. Because now, the world could see her light. And she was just getting started.